Hey, welcome back to Day Spills Tea. I, of course, am the lovely Day. And so I want to talk about Married to Medicine. Mostly, I want to talk about Dr. Greg. I'm just want to spend a little bit of time on last week's episode, and then I'll just talk a little bit about this week's episode. I promise this won't be a long video. Anyway, so I wanted to revisit last week's episode because I was on Quad's Instagram, and I don't know if any of you are following her on Instagram. You know, some of y'all don't like Quad, so you're probably not. But she posted that clip of when Sweet Tea was telling Heavenly that Quad was right about some things about Greg. And if you recall, she didn't post the whole clip. She just posted just that snip. But if you recall, that conversation that Sweet Tea had with Dr. Heavenly, what she said was that he was very controlling. And the example, I'm going to jog your memory. The example she gave was that he lied to her and told her that there were men in their house with guns to rob them. She said he did that to teach her a lesson about putting on the security alarm. If you think it's okay for your spouse or anyone else to lie to you and tell you that someone is in your house with a gun to teach you a lesson, then you probably not going to agree with nothing else I got to say for the rest of the video. So just turn me off, child. That's crazy. My protector, who takes pride in making me feel safe, is not going to make me feel unsafe by telling me there's men in my house with guns. And he knows that I'm generally carrying. So now you got me thinking we about to have a whole ass shootout in the house. Okay, anyways. So on that post, Quad posted that little quick clip, and then she posted the scene that we saw last week where Greg and Sweet Tea were talking at the table, and then he went upstairs and she followed him and they closed the door. I want to read to you just his part of that conversation because I just really want people to think about what was said and what it meant. And I'm not going to read Sweet Tea's part because she didn't really say anything. And I think we can all agree that none of what she said could even be misconstrued as being disrespectful or abusive or mean or anything like that. But let's read his part. He started with, "It's your fault. Don't say to make me go off. It really is your fault. Your opinion makes no sense. You think you know everything, don't you?" Then he goes on to say, "You're making me hype. I don't know who you think you're talking to. I don't know who you think you're talking to. Stop saying stupid stuff and you won't get the reaction that you don't want. How about that?" Followed by, "It's your fault." I read this, and when I tell you not a single one of these statements could my husband say to me and we be cool, not a single one of those statements is my husband going to say to me. And I know everybody's relationship is different, but it is really, really not sitting well with me that so many people find this to be okay. Let me tell you something. Just because it happened to you doesn't make it okay. Just because you accept it doesn't make it okay. And I'm not the is anything okay or not okay police, but in this instance, I'm telling you that kind of language is not good for your mental health, okay? Nothing about any of that, what I just read, is about resolution or finding a resolution or problem solving or moving on or healing. None of it. It is not with any type of goal in mind of fixing anything. Those words, "you're making me hype, I don't know who you think you're talking to." Let me tell you something. The only times I've told somebody, "I don't know who you think you're talking to," is when I needed for them to think about whether or not they wanted to continue talking to me like that, because it might have been a real problem if they did. "I don't know who you think you're talking to" is nothing if not a threat where I come from. "I don't know who you think you're talking to." Twice he said that. Twice in a row he said that. But some of us are still defending him, and I don't understand it. Originally, I felt like, maybe we're not watching the same show. But no, we are watching the same show. We just have different life experiences and we have different standards. And my standard is that nobody is going to remain in my life and continuously tell me things like, "You're naive, you say stupid stuff, what you're saying is nonsense," or "Your opinion," what was it? "Your opinion makes no sense." Can't nobody talk to me like that. My man ain't gonna ever talk to me like that. And I'm never talking to him like that. I don't understand it. And I want you to think about the words that you let people use when they address you, because it's not cool. It's not good for your mental health. That woman, I don't care what nobody says, that woman does not appear to be happy. She appears to be stressed to no end, like many of us are, but I don't think that her relationship is helping her out at all. Okay, moving right along. I had to wonder, did production send her up those stairs? Because she kind of, after he talked, she kind of sat down and like her arms were kind of like, she kind of looked planted and rooted. And I feel like maybe production egged her on and sent her up those stairs. And I feel like if they did that, it's probably because they knew it was going to be a hot mic moment that we would all be talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks to come. But before I move on from that, I did want to also say on Quad's post, on that post where she posted that clip, she had someone make a comment. So she had a friend, Dead President Chaser, who commented, "This is insane. Now the world can see some of what you were going through. So glad you got out of this." And Quad's response, and I'm sorry if y'all already seen this, Quad's response to that person was, "Corey, I really appreciate you and Leslie staying over some nights to intervene and prevent him from becoming more physical towards me. Thank you." And then later, you see Leslie comments and says, "Sis, I'm just happy that we were there to intervene. God knows what could have happened if we weren't there. Dead President Chaser and I will always be there for you. We love you." That doesn't make anything true. It doesn't make anything untrue. It's just there were other people who were. Anyways, okay, moving right along. So Toya is throwing her Bridgerton party, and I think it's a cool idea. I don't know if you all seen, but they tried to throw a Bridgerton ball here in Detroit, baby. Those people were pissed. Like, people drove here from other states, dressed to the nines, honey, got hair, glam, makeup, everything done, paid up to $1,000 for tickets. Got there, and the entertainer was one violinist and one stripper. I don't know what this stripper had to do with the Bridgerton ball or whatever. It was a real bad look. It was so bad. People sitting around on the floor on their phones. There wasn't like enough seating. The food was like mastacholi and meatballs. It was like, ghetto baby shower food. Anyways, so Toya is throwing her Bridgerton ball thing. And so they're all going to go practice dancing, learn the steps and all of that kind of stuff. And Contessa lets everybody know that Greg is pressing charges or that he's filed a restraining order. And Contessa says that Greg experienced something different from what everyone else saw. That's called lying. No, I'm kidding. That's not necessarily lying. People can have a different perception. But she says that she thinks that Greg feels like he was minding his own gentle soul business, relaxing, completely unprovoked. King decides to rip off his shirt and attack him. And none of us believe that that's actually what happens. So Eugene says something. I feel like he's always chiming in all the time. And I feel like what he says is never really memorable. But anyway, he chimes in. And Dr. Heavenly is like, "What would you have done if a man is telling Toya to shut the F up?" Dr. Heavenly has been consistent in saying that Dr. G said, "Shut the F up." We didn't see that, and I assume we will see it at the reunion. But none of them disputed her when she asked Eugene, "What would you do if some man told Toya to shut the F up?" And Toya was standing there like, like, what? Like, you better defend me. Anyway, so then we see Toya meets up later with Mimi and Sweet Tea. And I'll be honest, I was thinking Sweet Tea really doesn't have very much tact. Like, she doesn't know how to speak to people, because her and Toya were having like a conversation. They seemed like they were relating well. Everything was cool. And Toya is asking her about what's going on with Dr. G. And when Toya gets to the question and says, "So what did the police say?" Sweet Tea's response was, "That's my business." So y'all just all talk to each other crazy? Or maybe I'm overly sensitive because I am very sheltered. But why would you just say, "That's my business"? Like, I mean, I just feel like there were so many other ways she could have said that. And it made me think about her and Greg sitting at the table, how she was like, "Stop, be quiet." And originally, I was thinking this is her trying to protect him and keep him from saying the wrong stuff on TV. But now I kind of feel like it's just, they just really just don't know how to talk to people. That's all I can see. So at the lunch with Mimi and Toya, T is just like very tight-lipped. Like, she suddenly has no opinions of her own. She suddenly no longer has a voice. And I understand that she's trying to be respectful to her husband and his wishes. but it really, really felt strange. It really felt like her voice was just completely taken away from her. I didn't really understand her constantly just saying, well, that's for Gregory, that's for Gregory, that's for Gregory. Like the questions they were asking her were not necessarily for Gregory. It was like they're specifically asking how you feel. But she was just not willing to do that. And maybe because she doesn't trust them or something, I don't know. So then Dr. Eugene and Dr. Gregory head on over to Dr. Scott's house. And I just find it funny going back and rewatching it and seeing, honey, he done brought his laptop and his little speaker and he is ready to play this terrible song. And I'm so mad because it's been in my head all day. And oh my, it's just so bad. And he's just so cringy. Like the thought of him sitting down and writing that, going somewhere to record it. Now he said he wrote it playing guitar, but what we saw was him singing it like in a studio. Sweet Tea sitting on the side cheering him along, telling him you did good. Like it's just all so lame. It's so lame and so cringe. I don't understand these people. And then when they ask him about calling the police, he looks so happy and so proud of himself, like he really accomplished something. And then when he's telling them that, it could be 90 days and a fine, he just looks so pleased with himself. And I didn't understand that at all. You did not feel like you were in danger or anything like that. And I'm not saying that people don't have a right to call the police when they feel threatened or in danger, or if they need to file a report for a crime that's been committed or anything like that. But where I come from, we don't call the police unless we absolutely have to, because when the police come and there's a bunch of us, it can go so left so fast. And it can all be a mistake. It can all be where an officer suddenly felt like their life was threatened for whatever reason. So we don't take that lightly. We don't call just because you wanted to raise hell in somebody else's life. Like, that's bananas. And I'm still shocked that he did that. And then lastly, just Phadrea real quick. I don't care. Girl, bye. Okay, you brought nothing to the show anyways. And Dr. Jackie this week said exactly what I said to y'all last week, which was that Phadrea had the most information. Phadrea was the only one who knew Shek was coming and Apollo was coming. Phadrea had a plan. Her plan didn't work out. She ended up looking real silly because she didn't expect for Shireen to be there. She hated that Shireen was there. I hated that Shireen was there. But that's just how the cookie crumbles, and it is what it is. Okay, bye. Hopefully things go well for you on Housewives of Atlanta. That's it. Okay, that's all I got. I'm sorry about my rant, but I feel very strongly about that subject, and I really pray that y'all are all okay. And I hope that we set standards for ourselves and stick to them, and that none of us is in a position where we're being treated in a way that doesn't feel good on a regular basis. Get out of that. Don't live like that. That sucks. All right. Bye.